Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. And first off, I just want to apologize because I have been having system problems all day long. I have been working on this. It is not an excuse, but I'm just trying to offer an explanation for my late start today. I am like 8 minutes late, and you know how much I hate starting out not on time. So forgive me, please. I'm sorry, but it was due to technical difficulties that I could not help. And at the last minute, it just happened again. So I had to get that all straightened out. So I'm just happy that I'm able to do the show today. And thank you again for listening. All right. So let's get straight to today's show since we started late. All right. So the title of today's show is Seamless, and the topic is continuity in writing. Have you ever listened to the lyrics of a song or words of poetry and thought how well each line complemented the other? I'm sure you have, and that's what happens when they are well written. You probably noticed how each line flowed seamlessly into the next. That is the definition of continuity. So before I explain how to write continuity, I should first explain why it is crucial in writing. As I mentioned before, words that flow make sense when the subject, verb in each phrase agrees. Otherwise, it would be so confusing if every other sentence within a paragraph jumped around. That would be extremely hard to follow, and soon you would lose interest in that story and move on to the next, okay? And you would be cussing the person who wrote the book out in your mind, if not verbally, for writing such garbage and publishing it, okay? So we want to avoid that, and because that is not professional at all, and we want to make sure that we are making strides in the right direction, okay? All right, so the goal is to not let the reader think that you're not smarter than a sixth grader, although I've encountered plenty of elementary children who are extremely smart, okay? So we don't want them showing us up. We want to make sure that that we put forth an effort and to let our light shine, okay? So to avoid what could be an embarrassing situation, let's start with the 3 rules of continuity. So the first one is limit, the second one is function, and the third one is equal values. Okay, these facts are true whether it's mathematical or in writing, all right? Now let's move on to writing continuity. So according to www.investmentwriting.com, there must be a clean narrative, parallel structuring, this, that, and other words that bridge sentences. So we know what they are, and you've seen it before. When writing, you get those words, those bridge words is what they call them, and conjunctions. You know, it's what we learned when we were in school. But those words bridge other words together that form cohesive sentences, and that's what we want to do. All right. There must be a clean narrative. That's first and foremost. Your narrative must be direct. It must have clarity. You need clarity, in writing. When you're writing, you want to make sure that it makes sense. You want to make sure that the person reading your work can understand what you've written and not be confused by sentences that are jumbled or they run on. They don't have the proper punctuation, whatever the reason may be. You want to make sure that the narrative is clean, that you are structuring your sentences as they should be structured, and that they're flowing one into the next, that they make sense. That's the whole idea of continuity. So the best way to know if your writing is on point and that you are maintaining these rules is to read your work and to check for errors. Okay, so you may ask, well, how do I do that if I'm writing? I don't want to have to stop every other paragraph and read what I've written, because that's going to throw me off. That's going to throw my flow off. And so I'm going to end up not having continuity because I keep stopping and starting. Well, I don't suggest that you do that, but maybe, at a stopping point, when you've stopped writing for that day, you can go back and read what you've written just to make sure that it flows. And here's a tip for you. If you have the dictate function, if you have Microsoft Office 7 or higher than that, if you have the dictate feature on your computer within that app, you can actually turn that on, put it into voice, whichever voice you want, male, female, whatever, and let it read it to you. And that way you can hear it, as the sentences are being spoken. So that's another good way to determine if it's flowing, if you have continuity. All right. So this is an easy way to do it without having to go and read through it. So if the main character's name began as, let's say, Susan, it shouldn't change midway through the story. So let's not confuse our readers with avoidable gaffes, okay? So if it's Susan at the beginning, it should be Susan in the middle, Susan at the end, okay? Especially if it's a first name. Last names change. Maybe the character got married or something. You never know. But anyway, the first names should, they should be cohesive. They should be consistent, all right? So the best way to avoid these mistakes is to create a way to track the characters, places, and times, okay? One technique, this is another technique that I use, if I forget a character name or detail, I use to find content in the document within the Microsoft Office app. I'm going to tell you, Microsoft Office is dope. It is. It is so good because, that's what writing apps do. They simplify things for you. And if you know how to use the functions within the app, it'll work for you. Okay, so you may want to do a tutorial on Microsoft Office, and especially if you're writing a book or a document or whatever it may be, you want to learn how to navigate through Microsoft Office Word, because there are a lot of things within this app that is so useful if you know how to use them. Okay, all right. So anyway, what I do is I go up and use the find. I think it says the find content in the document. That's what I called it. Okay, so that's what it is. And then I'll type in a name that I've used, one that I can remember. And if I can't remember the name, I can type in an event or a place or something that is geared toward that character. So what I'll do is I'll type that in, and then every place where it pertains to my search within the document, it'll bring that up. It'll highlight it in yellow, and then it has an up and down arrow that'll take you to the top of the document and then all the way through to the end of the document, wherever the search that you've performed that you're trying to find. That's what it does. So, and I love that feature because I do forget, especially if I haven't worked on my story in like maybe a couple of days or maybe a week at the longest. And sometimes you do forget things. You forget, especially if they're not the main characters, if you're not using their names over and over and over and over again. If it's someone that is, they're crucial to the story, but maybe, you only mention them a couple of times, and then you may need to mention them again. So you want to make sure that that's right, that if the person is reading the story and they're keeping up with the details in the story, that's embarrassing to, to have someone point out, when they, when they talk about your book. Like, well, this writer didn't know what they were doing because, they called this person this in one part and then it was something else in another part. So you don't want to do that. All right. Because it's just not professional. So we want to make sure that that we keep up with these things, because these details. I'm sorry, I just hit this microphone. And two, if I am sounding extra loud today, I apologize for that as well, because I have headphones on. Okay, because it helps with the feedback when I'm listening. Or when I am recording, so I don't get all of those echoes and things like that. So I apologize for that if I'm talking too loud. You can just adjust the volume. Okay. All right. Okay. So, as we discussed earlier, all paragraphs should be linked to the narrative and have a consistent flow from one to the next. So what did we learn today, folks? Continuity strengthens the connection between sentences, and it will make you a better writer. All right. It will do that. All right. So like I said, I knew I was late today, and I'm so sorry about that. And I hate that I didn't start out at 6 o'clock on the dot. I was like 8 minutes late. So I apologize for that. But, things happen that are out of my control. So, and, I'm human, and I can't control every situation, but I pray that you will forgive me for that gaffe today. Okay. Also, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. If you partake of the holiday, or if you don't partake of the holiday, I hope you enjoyed your time off. I may have mentioned this last week. I'm not sure if I did or not, but anyway, this was the first holiday that I was able to actually congregate with my family, my entire family. Usually it's just those that are inside my bubble, that I see pretty much every day and always on Sundays. But I was able to entertain my family, my sister and her kids and her husband and my other nieces and nephews. And it was just wonderful to be able to do that. The first holiday, well, not the first holiday, but the first major holiday like Thanksgiving, to be able to gather together and to partake of that occasion as a unit. So that made me very happy. And I hope that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving as much as I did. So before I let you go, I want to make sure that I give you these URLs because I want you to stay in contact with me and the show, Book Chat. And I just have to say thank you guys so much, because you are helping me reach that 10,000 download mark. I am so close. And I owe it all to you guys for going out there and downloading those episodes, helping me out. I appreciate it so much. It's a goal for me for 2021 to be able to reach that 10,000 mark. It's everything is coming full circle from when I first started doing this podcast, up until this moment. So that makes it so worth it to know that I have achieved things greater than what I even had dreamed or anticipated. So I'm just so thrilled, and I thank you so much for helping me. All right, so the first URL is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian Moore. You can follow me on all social media, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Instagram is by invitation only. And for all the people who are sending me requests, follow requests on Instagram, that is not only up and up, probably porn or whatever, please stop, because I am going to ignore those requests. And that is the main reason why you have to ask me, to follow you, because to avoid things like this, because it just does not make sense to flood someone's timeline or Instagram page with nonsense. Okay. I wouldn't do that to you, and I don't want you doing that to me or anyone else. So this is the message for you. Stop sending requests because I'm not going to respond to them, especially if they are linked to porn or anything that is not on the up and up. All right. So also, if you want to check out my website, that is at authorvivianemore.com or authorehshepard.com. You can also check out my blog, which is updated on a weekly basis. That is https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. Okay. And you can find Book Chat on any platform where podcasts or hailed, or you can listen to them. Okay, I guess that should be the right way I should say that. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to toss a few out for you, and you can jot them down if you want to, or you can just go out and do a search on Google for me for Book Chat with author Vivian Moore, and it will bring back every last one of the platforms where Book Chat is carried. Okay, but anyway, Spreaker first and foremost. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, JioSaven, Audible.com, Verbal, Luminary, and Apple Music. So those are all of the places. My headphone just bumped into the microphone. If you hear that boom, 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 that rumbling noise, that's what that was. Okay. All right. I'm sorry for that. I'm not used to these headphones, guys. And so I need to get used to them because they help me out so much. But until then, I may have instances where I'm a little bit too close and the headphones rub against the microphone or whatever, because it's not in front of me, it's to the side of me. And when I turn my head is usually when I brush against it. Maybe that was just a bit too much information. But anyway, I just felt as though I should explain that to you. All right, so tomorrow is the 4th Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it. I say that all the time, but I am. Any day that I get to wake up and still be on this side, I'm thankful to go out on Sunday to worship, with like-minded individuals, to congregate with my church family, my brothers and sisters in Christ, because that is so important to me to be able to do that, because it is uplifting. It uplifts my spirit to hear the word, and that carries me, to midweek when we do Bible study, and then that carries me to the next time that we gather together for Sunday worship. So I hope you're planning on attending somewhere, even if it's just, maybe you're listening to it, listening to the sermons on television, or you are still listening to the worship service via the computer, Skype, or over the phone. However you're doing it, I hope that you do plan to attend. And, invite your family, your friends, your neighbors, and that kids listen in too, because that is so important. And what is equally important is telling those that you care about the most that you love them. So on that note, I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.